All right, well, Thanksgiving is now behind us. We spent a few days being all lovey-dovey and saying what we're thankful for, but now we need to balance all of this gratitude out a little bit, I think, with a little bit of hatred. That's only fair, right? At least that's kind of how I've been thinking so far, and I think I deserve to be a little judgy and opinionated just because of how nice I've been to people lately. And I don't know, that's just kind of like my version of girl math, that's just how my brain works. But that being said, today's topic is people who are assholes. At least once a week, there's one individual who makes their way into my life and annoys the living shit out of me because they don't know how to properly really operate in society. This can be a complete stranger whom I never met and may never meet, or someone who's been in my life for years now. So my goal today is to really call out some of these people and expose their asshole tendencies that drive me insane. Now, before I dive into these traits, I fully understand that I have some very strong asshole traits of my own. I am not some righteous person thinking there's something wrong with, everyone else in the world, because I can definitely be an absolute asshole to a lot of people, but I obviously try not to be as much as possible and can at least recognize when I am being an asshole. So I think that's a step above most people. And the choice is really, do I double down on being an asshole or do I just let it go? And usually I think I make a good decision. But anyways, let's dive into a few of these so you can get a feel of kind of like what I'm talking about. First, people who post hospital bed pictures on social media. These people, man, I can't. This is as self-centered as it gets. Now, I am not a doctor person personally. I hate going to doctor's appointments. I hate going to the doctor's office. Like, it would really take a lot for me to have to be like, I think I need to go to the hospital right now. I just never have that mindset. Partially why I am choosing to marry a doctor so that I never have to go. But some people are just in and out of this bitch like every other month, it seems like, on social media. It's crazy how every time they're always posting pictures and they'll be like, I'm okay, don't freak out. And for me, it's like, if you're even in the condition to think to yourself, maybe I should take a selfie right now, you should not be in the hospital. I don't understand how people really do this. And related, have you ever seen these social media posts where the person or you follow posts a picture of it's simply their hand holding this elderly ass person's hand as they're dying in their hospital bed? It's just like a close up on their hand. And it's a really long caption usually, and your friend writes some shit about how much they love this old relative that just died, and this is the picture of their hand. It's like, no, like, you are an asshole for doing this. Instead of embracing this moment where someone is literally on their deathbed, you are just think it's a good time to, take out that good old phone, snap a few pictures for a post when you finally decide to pull the plug on granny here, like, it's just, you're really holding this picture so that you can post about it later. And can you imagine if like the role was reversed and you were dying and your fucking granddaughter had the audacity to whip out her phone as you are dying, as you're just like, this is it, and your daughter's like, gotta post for later, That's just such a bad look. You're just such an asshole. But put your fucking phone away. And the same goes for people who record literally every moment of like a concert, for example. Just put your phone away. Are you really going to look back at these later? It never sounds or looks as good as you think it does. And nobody wants to see more than like maybe 3 songs or like 3 stories max. That should be a concert rule, in my opinion. You can only do like a 3 recording rule, and everyone at the concert and in attendance should be aware of this. They should be treated almost like timeouts, I think, in a sports game. Like, you got to conserve those bad boys as much as possible. And if you miss your song, or like you burn through all 3 too early, like, that's too bad. You made your choice and you're gonna have to live with it. Another type of asshole that I hate are people who drive Ford Explorers. Why, you may ask? Well, it's the same car as a highway patrol car, or the same car like any really generic cop uses. if I see like a Ford Explorer in my review mirror, I have to immediately like punch on the brakes, like I have to slow down almost instantly. And I'm trying to like squint in my rear view mirror to see if it's like a cop or not. They're always only like silver or navy. They're never like a random like red or green color. But then when they finally get close enough and you like are squinting and you see that it's just like some random like white dude or like a dad driving as slow as possible in a Ford Explorer, And I fully understand that this may lead you to think, well, Julian, aren't you the asshole for speeding? Like you shouldn't be doing that. Well, no, I don't think I am. I think in this scenario, everyone speeds. You're at least going 5 to 10 miles faster than the speed limit. And in my opinion, you are more of an asshole if you buy a car that looks like a cop car. You're just putting everyone else on the road kind of on edge. Don't you think this would like go through your thought process at all if you were buying a specific car? Like you don't think like, oh, like this is a cop car. Like that's just, I don't know. I think it's kind of obvious in my opinion to think that when you're buying a Ford Explorer, and you still do it anyways, and it's an asshole move. My next group of assholes are people who go to the store and typically use self-checkout with 1,000+ items. I think you are just a menace to society. You couldn't get a cart because you were too rushed, so you're fumbling all over yourself with all your items, and you're holding up a process that's really made for efficiency. Then, of course, they always need like the attendant, like the self-checkout attendant for some reason to come over for God knows what. I've talked about this before, but when I'm in the grocery store, it's a challenge for me really to see how fast I can get everything I need and get out of there, really. And typically, I only go to the store like once a week, right, to get everything I need for just a big haul. And I'm never using self-checkout for that. I've got just way too much shit for that. But if I ever need like those 1 to 2 little items and I'm running in there quick for, then yeah, self-checkout is obviously the way to go. But someone is always holding up the process, man. It drives me insane. And there's only one attendant for like 6 machines, right? They always are trying to like weigh out like a bag of loose almonds, or like they have alcohol, so they need to be ID checked. It is just never easy. And I don't understand why you need to make it harder by being an asshole and going over there with all of these difficult items or just a lot of items that really holds up the process. That's not what it was meant for. Just wait in a line like everyone else, get a cart, and just hold on. Let this people with 1 to 2 items use the self-checkout. 15 items or less. That was the norm back when they popped up. We need to get this back in rotation again. If they got too many items, you send them away. You get them out of there. It's partially on the grocery store or Target, whatever it is. It's partially on those employees. You send them to a different line. I think that should be what gets back in action. Something needs to happen, and I'm willing to make a stand. Partially related to stores and shopping, I think you are an asshole if you're taking your support animals in places that are just completely ridiculous. There's just no justification for this, I don't think. And this can be a polarizing like ideology here, but just hear me out for a second. For example, there's this older woman who shops at my grocery store, and she brings in this fucking horse of a dog with her every time she goes. It's got to be at least 150 pounds, and if it's standing up on its 2 hind legs, it's definitely over 6 feet. It's never on a leash, but it's got this like emotional support like vest on that they wear, and she always lets it like put its face so close to the produce, and it drives me insane. And typically all these people, right, who just see this dog, it's like love at first sight. They're all walking up to this woman, they're petting the dog, and she's having all of these 5-minute long conversations with someone about it, right? And it's usually right in front of the fucking thing that I need, like the avocado stand or something. Like it's the last thing on my list, and she's just standing there just talking about her dog. And so this is where I have a problem with it, right? You're telling me this incredibly social woman can't go 1 hour without taking this dog to the grocery store. She's just in too much of a fragile state for her to not grocery shop without this massive dog. like let's play devil's advocate, right? Like maybe it's an unseen like medical condition, and but why would you even choose a dog of this size then? It's not like I'm exaggerating when I say that it's literally the size of it, like a deer. Like it's huge. And like, I don't know. I just think she's an asshole. And I think you're an asshole if you got all these crazy, weird emotional support animals. I think you're just like bringing attention to yourself for no reason. Like get a retriever or something, some like a normal dog that works well in society. They're like, you don't get a crocodile or try to drag a zebra onto a plane. You're just doing it for attention at that point. I just don't understand. You're just asking for a fight, I think, everywhere you go. Next up on my list of assholes is one-uppers and name droppers. This is one of the few on the list here that's an actual like personality trait, I'd say. The others are like temporary assholery behavior. But one-uppers are just constant. They're just constant assholes. Like they just live in an asshole state. I don't know how these people really don't notice this. I think this is one of the reasons why I'm really a quiet person, like in a social setting. I don't like talking about myself. I'd much rather keep the conversation going on, like with the other person just talking about themselves. I can think of a story or like that I want to tell or something that's relevant, but internally I'm just like, no, this person probably wouldn't give a shit about this story. It's not worth it. So instead, just keep asking questions about like themselves, right? Now, I grouped one-uppers and name droppers together because I feel like they're really trying to accomplish like the same goal, right? They want you to be impressed with them. But I really struggle with this. I've talked about like competition and competitiveness before. I'm a very competitive person, but I don't really feel that way when I'm like engaging with someone in a conversation, which is how I feel like one-uppers seem to approach it. One-uppers typically are people who are never surprised by anything, like they've seen it all before, and they tend to have a little bit of inflated egos. So the only way they really know how to really contribute to the conversation is by bragging about their accomplishments. Yeah, this is a rough group, extremely difficult group of assholes, I'd say, to deal with. It's hard to get over those one-uppers and name droppers, It's hard to. I've met some cool people, but I'm not out here like broadcasting it. I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't get it. Next, when someone says you look like someone and they're ugly, that's never a good feeling. It's never good when some asshole looks at you and says, you know who you look like? Like you're just like, come on, man, God damn it. Because you hear all the same ones typically. Like most of your life, you hear like maybe a group of 3 to 4 people about who you look like. And there's no way, like real way out of the conversation. So you're like, okay, asshole, like, let's hear it. And then it's just never a compliment. It's never a good look to say this to someone. Obviously, attractiveness is all subjective, but you don't know how this person is going to view like this other like celebrity that you're referencing. There's one person in particular that I've gotten compared to a lot, like the last, I don't know, maybe like 5 years. And I'm just like, Jesus, dude, this guy, like I pull up the first picture. I'm like, God, dude, I got to do something. If I'm getting compared to this guy, like something's off about my look. But yeah, nobody likes a person who says, you know who you look like. It's just, you're an asshole, and it's just never a good look. Just don't do it. Don't bring up a celebrity lookalike, because 9 times out of 10, they're not going to like who you choose. It's just an asshole move. This next group of assholery is a very specific group of primarily men, but it is guys who yell or scream at the gym. Now, I cannot stand this. Typically, I've talked about my gym experiences in the past a little bit, but I'm in the zone, right? I'm trying to just stay focused on my audiobook, what I'm doing. And when people get me out of this like state of mind because I get distracted, I hate it. It takes so much for me to just refocus on what I'm doing. I'll lose count of like how many reps I've done, whatever it is. I just can't stand this behavior. To me, it is just some of the most obnoxious shit that you can do. You just want everyone to turn around and look at what you're doing, really. That's all I see as, like, that's all it is. There was one guy recently who was like my size, so he's not a big guy by any means, and he was sitting on the like leg extension machine, and he's doing 1 rep of this crazy weight that he couldn't even fully extend Then he's like screaming his fucking head off and then proceeds to like get off the machine in this big elaborate way. And he's doing this weird stretching and moaning thing. And then he would just go on his phone and then wait for 5 minutes. And then he'd hop on again and like just do another rep of one where he'd just scream his head off. And it was just the weirdest thing. And mind you, like I'm wearing like noise canceling headphones. I'm locked in. And for at least 3 reps, which would have been 15 minutes, I couldn't do anything but keep my eyes on this guy because it was quite the scene he was having for himself. But yeah, I just don't get it. Like, you're not like this Spartan soldier. I don't think you need to be exerting yourself like this. And all the yelling and screaming was just too much, you know? It's just, you look like an asshole for doing this. I don't get why you are. I don't get it. In my opinion, you are also an asshole if you are in a group setting of like 3 or more people, let's say, and you make some inside joke. I cannot think of another way to make someone feel just uncomfortable. It's like when Michael Scott says like, I love inside jokes. I'd love to be a part of one someday. But I just hate it. I think like, what a shitty asshole move. It's the same as being in a group and showing someone a reel or a picture on your phone and then like not showing it like to the next person. Like you just bring it back around, right? Like, God, I hate that. Then you act like if you're that person who didn't get to see the picture, like you act like you didn't want to see it anyways, you know? You're like, I don't care anyways. But you're just thinking to yourself like, man, this guy's a fucking asshole. And there's just no recovery either. You're just staying there completely out of the loop. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what they're talking about. And you can be like, Julian, why don't you just ask to see it, right? And like, that's a common thing. Like, oh, let me see. But no, I don't think I should have to. I don't think I should be left in that position. The person holding the phone should immediately want to show everyone in the group. I just think that's just the common courtesy thing to do. So next time you're showing someone your phone or something, or showing something on your phone, just make sure everyone in the fucking group sees that shit, because that's not a cool move. That's a fucking asshole move, all right? Lastly, I have here people who don't use common manners in society. You're just an asshole in general. I swear to God, I am 10 times nicer, I think, to people I don't know compared to the people that know me very well. I hold doors open for people. I say thank you as much as possible to random people, and I acknowledge service workers, which is a big thing. You can definitely tell the people, I think, who haven't worked in like some type of like customer service or service industry. I think that should be like a college credit. Like you must work in a store or a restaurant, something customer facing for at least a semester to fully grasp just how many assholes there are in the world, and then like write a paper at the end of it on what you've learned. Like, I think as a society, like we would all be so much nicer and accommodating. Like, don't you think? Like, it would just be amazing. I think it would solve at least like 50% of all daily person-to-person conflicts. I bet it's just like everyone should work in some service job just to be on the other side of it, to fully understand. Now, there are, of course, some scenarios in which being an asshole really benefits you. For example, it's no surprise to me that like the world is really run by assholes, but that's because in high stakes situations, being an asshole can be advantageous at sometimes. You know, they're assertive, they're aggressive, demanding attention. They make their presence known, and typically that pays off. But there are many different type of people that fall into the category of asshole. I think there's been entire podcasts about people asking themselves, you know, am I the asshole? As they present these like weird, bizarre, awkward scenarios. But that's what's interesting about it, right? It's rarely is there like ever a definitive answer on who the asshole is. You know, it's very subjective. But if there wasn't, it wouldn't be very interesting. So that being said, there is a fine line that you have to walk. It's okay to step over that asshole line sometimes and be the occasional asshole if needed, but don't make a habit of it. You know, it's never good. You don't want to be a constant asshole. Anyways, that's all I have for today. I'd love to hear some additional assholery that you've come across in your lifetime. So please don't hold back. Let me know. Let me hear some stories. If you're like listening to this and there's like a kid or something in the car, I'm also sorry. Asshole is not a good word, and I've said it probably 50 times. So I apologize for that. Kids, don't say asshole. But I appreciate you for listening, and I'll talk to you next week.